So the boss is in this giant long corridor of a room with walls every section or so. So basically, P1, you're going to fight the boss in this area, and then once intermission starts, he's going to break down this barrier and run to the next one. And he's going to put a shield on himself. And this is going to, the whole like area up to him is going to be like filled with shit that you have to dodge. Also, like the moment he starts intermission, he does a constant pushback for like 6 seconds or something, like knocking everybody back. There's also a wall. I think this wall spawns at the start of the fight. So there's a wall behind you as well. And if you ever touch the walls, you die. So P1 in this area doing mechanics. Intermission starts, you get pushed back. He breaks down this wall. He goes to the next section, starts casting, has a shield. You have to go get to him and break his shield. And that's basically how the fight just continues on until the very end. Very end of the fight, he has like a soft enrage. At least on Mythic, I don't really know exactly how it works on Heroic, but on Mythic, he will shoot walls like down the corridor at you. So on Mythic, he does that in every P1. I think he does it once, maybe twice in every P1. At the end of the fight, the soft enrage is that he just keeps shooting walls. Like basically he shoots a wall, he does a mechanic. He shoots a wall, he does mechanics. So the walls come out so fast that you don't have time to use your cloak, which we'll talk about in a second for how you actually use it. But you're supposed to use your legendary cloak thing to get over the walls, but it has a 15-second cooldown. So the soft enrage is that he shoots so many walls that you can't get over them anymore and you'll just die. But yeah, so pretty simple boss, just a P1 and then intermission and then P1 and then intermission, and then the last one I think is after 2 intermissions, I think is the enrage at the end. But yeah, the main mechanics of P1 are going to be that X number of players on testing, it was 4 in Mythic, will get targeted with some circles, and you'll see these basically on pull because they come out relatively quickly. But players will get targeted with circles that you need to drop out of the way so they're not in the middle of the raid. These circles, I don't remember if they do damage to you while you have it on you. So there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4 players with circles. It looks like it is baby ticking them.
It's ticking.
Yeah. So, but as you can see here, you just take them out. After a while, it drops a portal underneath you. The portal does not affect you if you're the one who dropped it, probably for some grace period. But you drop a portal, and then you get out of the portal. And that's pretty simple. The portals are semi-important in that you don't want to drop them in a shitty place, because they are actual portals. They will port you somewhere. I think it's random, maybe within like 10 or 20 yards, and stun you and do damage to you. So you basically never want to have to hit a portal. So like for actual raid strategy, you're probably going to want to drop these in a specific place or in a specific area. We were kind of just saying get off to the side. But come raid time, there will probably be an actual strategy like drop all of them on the left or something, or directly on the back. Yeah, actually, you don't want to drop them directly behind you because the knockback at to start intermission will knock you into them and kill a bunch of people. So you're probably going to have them like dropped off to the left or something, or up to the right or something like that. That is like one of 2 mechanics in P1 that the most of the raid has to deal with. Is just that. This is a very simple first boss, as all first bosses are, but there's that. As you can see, there's dodge circles, just the usual shit, just dodge them. The other mechanic for DPS to handle, okay, so this is good. So this is the Mythic wall you see coming right at us. You can actually see it up here right now. So on Mythic, the boss shoots a wall down the corridor at you. I don't think he does that during Heroic. So wall comes at you. You can blink this, Mage Blink, Transcend, Warlock Portal. You can't leap it or double jump it. You have to actually teleport. Or how everyone else is going to use this is they're going to use their cloak, which you have your extra action button. And you'll see people like becoming purple. Your cloak basically pushes you forward like 10 yards and gives you a 99% or something like that damage reduction. So you'll use that to jump over the walls, and the damage reduction at least on testing, lasted for 3 seconds after the cloak finished pushing you forward. And so I'll talk about that a little bit in some potential tricks that you can do on this fight later. But yeah, so there's the Mythic wall. It just comes down the corridor. You get over it. It's really not hard. The most important thing is that you're just actually paying attention. Just having a weak aura MRT reminder, liquid reminder on your screen that starts counting down for when the wall is going to get to you will be fine. If I have to actually call out every single wall that comes, that's insane. The other mechanic that DPS players and everyone else has to deal with in P1 is this. So you'll see, again, we get 4 more people running out to the side. This is a group soak. And it's a little bit of an interesting group soak. So it's a swirly on a targeted player, so the player can move around. What the group soak does is it actually hits twice within like 1 second or half a second or something like that. It's a fairly quick time. So, and what it does is when it hits it knocks anybody who is in it back. So kind of the idea that Blizzard is flirting with here is that you have 2 separate soak groups, and you find some way to quickly have the second ones get in to the soak after the first group gets knocked back. Because it knocks you pretty far. It's like 20 yards or something like that. So it can be a little bit challenging for people who are in the first soak to also be in the second hit of the soak. There is no debuff that says you can't like be in both hits of the soak. So if you just immune it or something, that's fine. On Mythic, you have to have at least 5 people in the soak, or the raid takes all of the like unmitigated damage of the soak. So yeah, there'll be strategies on how to handle this, but you'll see it here. So you see like everyone just got knocked back, and then we all get knocked. So as you can see, our strategy here, I actually kind of liked it. It's probably what we're gonna do on live, is that the person targeted with the soak is actually going to be the person who handles moving the soak. And you have 2 soak groups. So you have a ranged soak group and you have a melee soak group. And that's kind of what our X and Skull was. And what it means is the person who's targeted with the mechanic just stands in melee until they see the melee people get hit away, and then they walk backwards to the range group. That way only one person is actually having to move instead of like all of the ranged players having to walk into the soak and potentially like missing it or being late. You only rely on one player's timing. So I kind of like that. We might do something different, but I think it was pretty good. But you see there, double soak, we get knocked. And that is basically all of P1. This is actually me testing whether you can get out of the stuns from the portals. You can, but again, there's like no benefit to it because hitting a portal also leaves shit on the ground. And you can see that this portal actually ported me into another portal, and then that portal hit me as well. So yeah, walking into a portal is just basically never a good idea. There's really no reason to do it, but we were just testing to see if you could actually get out of the stun. You can, if you have stun breaks, bops, regular blink, whatever. So that is all of P1 for regular players, DPS and healers. You just have the targeted mechanic that you run out and drop a portal, and you have the group soak that you just handle with the group soak in the mid, and there's dodge circles. That's basically it. The other mechanic that is happening, and is actually the hardest hitting mechanic of the fight, is the tank mechanic, which you'll see happening here. Tank is targeted with it. It works basically exactly the same as the Sprocket Monger Pyro Party Pack, where the tank is going to have to run out and drop this thing far away from the raid because it does fall off damage. This was hitting really hard. It was the hardest mechanic of the fight. I don't know what tuning will be like on live. But it actually might be worth paying attention to this. Now we might just like healer CD it, so you just use your personals if you targeted with one of these mechanics, or personals for the group soak, or personals for intermission. But yeah, so for tanks, this was the important mechanic, taunt swap and everything. You'll see it also does, you can see it in the bottom left over here. It also drops a giant puddle, which is the same type of puddle as if you hit a portal, just does a lot of damage. But you could stack these. So you could actually like drop a portal in there, but you wouldn't want to do that because you're just going to want your tanks to stack their dropped ability on top of each other. And you'll want to have them drop it in a specific location so that it's out of the way for where the raid's going to have to run during intermission. So you can see we were doing back left and testing. That's fine. But yeah, so hard hitting mechanic. Nobody else has to interact with that besides tanks, but it'll be good to use a defensive for that. You can see here, he just ran out. It's going to go off. And boom. Everybody's down to like 50%. Except for the Warlocks, because they're Warlocks. Alright, and then we're starting intermission. So we had like the flow on testing was one set of portal debuffs. Then on Mythic, the wall comes through. And then you have the next set of portal debuffs and the group soak at the same time. So you're going to be down 4 people if it's 4 people on live. And then after that group soak, the tank gets the second tank mechanic. I don't remember when the first one came in. But the tank gets the second tank mechanic, and then the boss pushes into intermission. And the boss has an energy bar, and he pushes into intermission at 100%. So you can also tell that way. So he starts intermission with this long pushback. As I said, like a wall spawns at the start of the fight. Never get pushed into the back wall. You will die immediately. And this is where your maze runner comes in. So these big circles are going to turn into giant bubbles that I think just do damage if you run through them. The difference in this on Mythic versus Heroic is Mythic has these 2 adds that you have to kill before they finish their cast. These things had absolutely no health on testing. So they were kind of a nothing burger. I assume they'll have more health, or maybe they'll like change them up and have the adds actually do something, because them just kind of standing here and doing a cast that you just kill them before it ends is kind of useless. But the whole point of this is that the boss pushed you back. He ran to the next wall. He's standing there. He now has a shield. And you have to break his shield. You're taking ramping damage the whole time you're in this phase. So there's a couple of optimizations that can be done here. So you saw the giant bubbles. You're also going to... I want to show you the spawn of the beams. So this is actually going to spawn a beam that is going to like shoot in a direction. It shows an animation for which direction it's going to shoot, and then it rotates around that point again. So it's just creating a maze for you to get through. So there'll be a couple optimizations to do here. If everything spawns in the same orientation or location, which it seemed like it was on testing. So the adds always were spawning in the same spot, which is why we have them world markered. And I think like the bubbles and the beams were even spawning in the same spot. If that's true, you're just going to have like a perfectly optimized raid plan strat of how you walk through the maze. But it's also not necessary because it's just a maze. You just walk. So during intermission, also the boss is going to throw a wall down. I don't remember if he just does 1 or 2, but he'll be throwing a wall down the corridor as well. So your whole raid just runs over there. You probably just have your ranged kill these depending on how much health they have, while your melee just run to the end and break the shield. Maybe you have like strong burst classes or strong shield damage classes like Dev Evokers, Arcane Mages go and hit the shield immediately instead of hitting these. But it's whatever. The bubbles and the beams kind of make it harder to gate unless the bubbles and the beams are in the same position every time. Then you can pre-plan your gates as well. But there is also a different trick you can potentially do. I didn't try it out on testing because I didn't think about it till later. You can see the beam there hasn't started yet. It's just showing which way it's going to go. These are the giant bubbles. You can see also that it would be very bad if somebody had put a portal right here, because then we're all kind of screwed. And these are the beams now that they're active. So you see like the large circle of the beam is its like middle point, and it's rotating around that middle point. So this one's rotating like this way. I don't know if it has any logic for which way they rotate, but yeah. And you have dodge circles. Pretty simple intermission. You'll see this wall, yep, coming at us that you want to get across. So one of the tricks, actually we'll leave that for later. But I mean, this is the whole fight, is this intermission. You get here, you're taking ramping damage, you try to throw some heal CDs. It'll be much better to have like raid-wide throughput CDs instead of like Spirit Link and stuff here, just because stacking is hard with all of the dodge circles. You will see that like there's very clear spots where range could stand that have no mechanics happening. Like the beams only go so far, so like range could stand here and basically plant. Now they'll have to move for dodge circles. There's a couple spots in the room where that's true, so it'll probably be ideal for like range to kind of figure out where they want to go and then always go to that spot and have like a couple range in each spot, so it reduces the amount of dodge circles on them. They have to move less, and they don't have to move for any of the mechanics. Just an optimization. Dodge circles also like took forever to actually explode. That might change for live though. And that was the end of it. So now you're just doing the same thing, but you're in this section. You also still have all of the space behind you to play back to the first section. But there's no real benefit in like running the portals back there because you're just going to lose so much DPS running all the way back there. However, tanks can get like super fucking far back there with the tank mechanic. And it looks like the order of mechanics in this phase is a little bit different because I think the group soak last time was after the wall came, and this time it's before the wall, or maybe we get 2 sets of mechanics in this phase. I think we do get 2 full sets of mechanics.
I remember Shark having a note like that. If you get 1 and then you get 2.
Yeah, it's like he increased the number of mechanics we face. You can see the walls coming towards us, so that's going to be the next thing. But yeah, same fight, just repeating now. You technically have more space behind you. The boss is also going to push you maybe a little bit further after this one. But yeah, it's the same. Skip forward. Yeah, so we get 3 group soaks actually in this phase. And then boss push starts. Mages can alter time this entire thing, which is pretty nice, as long as you don't put your alter time inside of a bubble. And again, the ads were spawning in set positions. We have this one and the one back there. And then boss is even farther forward now. This is me actually using my cloak for the first time, so you can see how it actually looks, because I ran out of blinks. You can see I use my cloak, go through, and then I also have, I don't remember what buff it is. I think it's this one maybe? It's a buff where like you take 90% reduced damage until this is actually over. So you actually have a lot of time where you're taking reduced damage by using the cloak. So that's the whole fight. It's really simple. Save like a health pot or a health stone for intermission, especially if you're off by yourself. Try and save a defensive if you're behind or something. Let's go through some potential tips and tricks, and then we can do questions if anybody has anything. So yeah, you can blink, port, transcend over the wall, which is especially nice if your blink or teleport is off the GCD, because the cloak puts you on the GCD plus a little bit longer, I think, for the flight time of the cloak. So you just lose less cast by doing a off GCD teleport. One of the thoughts that I had for optimizations in intermission is that since the cloak gives you a buff for like X seconds after you cloak of damage reduction, you could actually probably gateway intermission. As long as you have some way to get over the wall, if you're not going to gateway over the wall. So you could just put your gateway anywhere, use your cloak to get up to the gateway, and then gateway while you still have the cloak buff, and you just like wouldn't take damage from anything you run through. So that only works in 2 scenarios. One, you either gateway over the wall, so you're timing it to align with the wall, or else you won't have a cloak to get over the wall. Or 2, you're playing a class that can teleport over the wall by itself and doesn't need the cloak for it. It's probably not something really worth trying because it's the first boss, and just not fucking stuff up is better than trying to be super optimized. Ranged on pole can pre-position basically completely for portal drops. So you don't have to move if you're targeted, because these come out like within the first 7 seconds or something of the fight. As I said, there's no debuff for the group soak, so you can get hit by both if you just want to try and like help the raid. The walls the boss throws are not line of sight. In any P1 phase, if there's not a wall coming like immediately, or if you have a blink to get over the wall, you can instead just use your cloak for movement.
So every other wall you have the cloak back anyways.
So just play a bunch of mages.
Walls here.
I boarded early. My bad.
Group soak. Yes, Mage Blink gets you out of the stun from hitting one of the runes.
Actually, we should all reroll here.
I feel like these ads are gonna have a lot more health on live.
Well,
That's the first boss.
only
so I
full
don't think
multi-dot
it'll be-
squad, or you won't be able to beat this, I think.
Yes, love. Daddy has chips. Maybe, babe. Alright, Daddy's working, my love.
Oh, was that Spirit Shell?
Walls coming.
You cannot invis the group soak.
Pretty OP.
Yeah. Might be able to pre-invis it, but eh.
Last set of mechanics coming. Walls here.
All wearing these traps. We want to do the last intermission again. We'll probably have to stop the end of the
Oh
video.
yeah, let's stop for sure.
Oh,
Ooh.
we were pranking. Oh, I still have old trinkets, dude.
Are these matrices and then is it a soak? Yeah, it's a soak, and then it's intermission.
We're about to kill this boss. On accident.
Yeah.
Yes, boo. Yep, you got grapes.
So the orbs are still the same. It's still that same walls over there.
Walls coming.
That was awesome.
You can use, if you're really good, you can use the cloak to go through an orb and the wall at the same time.
It kind of does a walk
Are we planning to kill this? I don't know if there's much we can do to test. I feel like it's pretty simple. I don't know
I-
if anyone else has anything they want to test.
I don't really have anything.
Yeah, no, we all kind of lived through the whole fight. So.
Yeah, we kind of just fucking smirked to play it.
Yeah, that's pretty good.